Hi everyone! So I think today's video is going to be a bit different but interesting, hopefully. I'm going to be making some dishes that I remember from my past, and most of you know this, that I grew up Amish, so of course we had some different dishes here in our community, like food dishes that I think we had that other people didn't. And honestly, some of these dishes I've kind of gotten away from, but sometimes I think about them and I have this nostalgic feeling like I want to make them again or just taste them. That's what I'll be doing in today's video, and prepare yourselves. Some of these dishes are kind of unusual and they might not be, you know, everyone's taste, but I wonder what you guys will think. The first thing I'm making is date pudding, and honestly I don't really know for sure, you know, did it originate here in Amish country or not. But I'm almost thinking maybe it did, because if I Google it, nothing really comes up exactly like the pudding, you know, I grew up with. There's some other versions that almost look more like a cake with a glaze, but this is actually a layered pudding, and I tell you, we had this at every family event or gathering, you know, Thanksgiving, Christmas. Date pudding was always present, and as a little girl I really didn't care for it. I can eat it now, but it's still not my favorite pudding. I rarely make it for us, but now and then I'll, you know, eat some if somebody brings some to a family event. Mom always had the best date pudding, I think, and I do have a recipe here that I'm using. So basically there's 3 different things that you make, and then you layer it. First of all is the cake that I'm making here. You cut up dates, soak them in water and soda, and then you mix together the rest of the batter. And the second thing is a glaze. And like I often do with some of these recipes, I'll tweak some of the sugar around a bit. Instead of adding all the sugar, I'll just add some extra maple syrup. And this recipe actually asks for maple flavoring, which I don't have on hand right now, so I'm just adding extra maple syrup to give it kind of that maple flavor. And the third thing is like a whip topping. In this case, I'm just using Cool Whip, but you could, you know, whip up your own by using, you know, heavy whipping cream. It would probably make it a little bit healthier. Next up is a really simple gravy that I learned how to make at a really young age, and I feel like my life would be kind of complicated if I didn't know how to make this. It's just so easy. There's a number of different dishes that you need gravy for. I want to show you a favorite dish of ours that we like to use this gravy for, and this is just one of the things you can use it for. But here I'm just browning some hamburger. I'm going to remove it from my cast iron skillet once it's, you know, cooked through, and then I'll make my gravy in here too. The gravy consists of 3 main ingredients: butter, flour, and water. First you just melt the butter, brown it, and then add flour. And I just guess for this, it depends on how much gravy you need or how much butter you have melted. I just sprinkle flour into the butter and kind of mix it together until it's the right consistency. And the gravy I'm making here, I ended up getting a little too thick. I added too much flour, but it should be okay. Sometimes it's a little bit harder to get it smooth if it's, you know, too thick, this mixture. And of course we have to add water here, and it's really important to use really hot water, or as hot as you can, you know, out of the faucet. And be careful with it, as it does really steam, you know, because your cast iron skillet in this case is really hot. So I always watch that my hand isn't, you know, over the pan when I pour my water in. Of course this can be seasoned as you wish. In this case I'm just adding salt and pepper. Returning my ground beef back into the gravy, and I have some extra mashed potatoes in the fridge for tonight, and this will just be a nice meal for us to have mashed potatoes in this gravy. It's a really filling dish, you know, on its own with your meat and your gravy and your potatoes, and you can always, you know, create another side dish or a salad or something like that. This next dish you're either going to love or hate. I don't know how soaked bread sounds to you, but This is definitely something that originated here in our area. It's like a bean and bread soup. There's different names that people call it. Some even call it baby soup, which they use the Dutch word bople, which that means baby. And that's probably because a lot of babies were fed this, like since it's a really soft soup. I mean, this will make sense once you see what's in it. It's probably easy for little babies, you know, to eat. One of their first things that they're able to eat, kind of like baby food. First, you just brown some butter, and then you add beans. In this case, I'm using the Great Northern beans. Next up is milk, and then, yep, some bread. I know it sounds disgusting, soaked bread, but honestly, this is so good. Like, I actually am not repulsed by it. I love it. The day I'm making this, John and I had it for lunch, and we haven't had it for a while, and we both just oohed and awed. We thought it just seemed so nostalgic and delicious, but I totally get it that it's not, you know, everybody's thing. And this is also a dish that was always served in Amish churches. Like, people would take turns to host church at their house, and then they'd have lunch together. And this was a soup that was always popular, not every time, but often they'd have soup like this. There's really no right or wrong amount of bread to add. If you want a thicker soup, you know, you just add more. And I should also mention, if you don't care for beans, just don't put them in. Our boys wouldn't eat this with the beans. I always just made it without. This is a bland, sort of a bland soup, but I, for myself, kind of like bland food sometimes. So, you know, I don't mind it, but there's definitely not just a whole lot of flavor involved, but I think it's good. But you guys should try it. I'm curious if you like it. The next recipe, I'm pretty sure, is something that also originated here in Amish country, and this is also something we used to have at church. It's a peanut butter spread, and of course this is a spread that gets put on bread. And I could have showed you how I make homemade bread, but I've done that before here in my videos, so I decided not to. But the same day here, I'm actually baking bread for our cottage guests. I always make these little mini loaves for them. To make this peanut butter spread, you boil a few ingredients together and let that cool. And in the meantime, you mix peanut butter and marshmallow cream together. Now, of course, there's nothing healthy about this peanut butter spread. I think there's a brand of marshmallow cream that you can get that has better ingredients in it than just your normal one. But just for video's sake here, I'm just using what my local market had. I haven't made this recently, so I kind of forgot how hard it is to stir. I thought I could just easily whip it together, but really should have used my KitchenAid mixer to do this. But it works by hand too, and you just want to mix it until it's nice and smooth and kind of creamy. Once that first mixture has cooled, you add that to the peanut butter and the marshmallow cream. I see this peanut butter spread in our local markets. It's advertised as Amish peanut butter, and I think a lot of it is sold to, you know, our tourists. It is something different, and it is pretty good. I know even some restaurants offer it here in our area. The last thing I'm making here is an old-fashioned pudding again, and this is something that used to be my favorite thing as a child, and Mom used to make it for me. Even sometimes in the evening, if I'd be craving a snack or something, she'd make this for me, and I'd even eat it warm at times, but it's good either way. And I asked Mom about it. I wanted to know where it actually comes from, like the recipe. And she said Grandma, like her mom, used to make it all the time. So I feel like it's just an old-fashioned pudding. And I wonder if any of you guys recognize it. Again, it's so simple, I almost debated not to put it in here. First you heat some milk, and then you mix some ingredients together in a shaker. Shake that up, add it to the milk to thicken it, and it's pretty much finished. That's how simple it is. The ingredients in the shaker are milk, an egg, cornstarch, and a little bit of sugar. This is also a dish that is a bit bland maybe to some people, kind of like that bread soup. But I guess I'm kind of drawn to bland food sometimes because I kind of like it, but I know some people, like my sister, didn't like this. Like, she never asked for cornstarch pudding. We always ate this with saltine crackers, so that's what I'm doing here. I actually got Ephraim to taste it. Cornstarch now, like, yeah, nämlich scoop mig vad stinkst vidare.
Pretty good.
I hope you guys enjoyed this rather short video on different food ideas. Let me know, would you try any of these dishes, or are they just a bit too bizarre for you? Don't blame you if you don't want to. I will share the recipes down below in the description box, although some of the dishes I don't really have a recipe for, but I'll do my best to kind of explain how to make it. I have one exciting new product I want to show you, and I also wanted to mention I'm going to start directing you guys to my website for some of these products. I'm kind of testing out a few things, and I could probably talk a while on this, but I won't elaborate. I know it's a good idea to have a few different sites that people can order from. That way, if something does happen to one, you know, you still have the other. So enough on that. My cousin Susie made this beautiful soap, and it has dandelion in it. Susie is so good with using things of nature, incorporating it into soap, and I got her to send me a text here and kind of explain what all it's good for. So I'll quickly read this. She studies up on these things, and I'm just blown away with, you know, dandelions are often, you think they're kind of a nuisance. You don't want to see them in your yard, but they're actually really beneficial. They're loaded with vitamins A, C, and E, also potassium, which hydrates dry skin. It's extremely great for acne-prone skin as it heals inflammation and cleans out the pores. So it's an antioxidant, anti-inflammatory, protects against UV rays, hydrates, just lots of wonderful benefits. Plus it looks beautiful. And again, I wish I could get the smell to you. I know I often say that, but it smells amazing. I think this is possibly my new favorite soap. I wish we had shelves and shelves of it. We only have a small amount, so make sure to head on over to my website, not the Etsy shop. I'm going to sell them on my website. Again, just testing some things here. Check them out. I have two different kinds. The one has some lemongrass and the other has honey, and the one that has the honey isn't a strong smelling soap. Some people like something that doesn't smell a whole lot. You're going to love this. And then the lemongrass, it smells wonderful. Both smell amazing. And I also have some candles available on the website. These are the same as the Etsy shop. It's nothing different in that regard. The price might vary just a bit. So thanks guys for watching. I hope your day is going great, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye.